Obviously, in a much better mood today than I was Saturday night, although it still doesn't feel good, but it's on to a new week. The great thing about being upbeat and positive today is big game here this week against a rival. It's the last opportunity. For many, many of us, this is a big game. It's an important game. We've got some players that have been around here a long time. We have some new players. Could be the last opportunity with this team. There's players that are probably going to hit the portal. There's probably players that are going to get ready for the NFL draft. It's maybe the last opportunity with this complete group. So we have an important game against the Louisville team. Coach Braum and his staff and his team have had an exceptional year. We got to go up there and play in another hostile environment. I don't know if there is. You guys could probably tell me that, but that's another top 10 team. I think that's 4. I don't know how many teams have played 4 current sitting teams that are in the top 10. So another challenge. I think that's one of the reasons why I was very frustrated and disappointed Saturday night was, it's been a challenging schedule, challenging year, and I felt like we had so many opportunities that we let slip away, and that gets hard. That gets difficult, but we watched it. We need to get some things corrected. We need to play better in certain areas. We need to coach better in certain areas, and we'll continue to do that. Nobody's defeated in our facility, that's for sure. Disappointed with that game. That comes from investing so much, but far from defeated. And our team will, show the resolve that we've always had, and come back this week and try to put together a great week. And the bottom line is go execute a little better than we did Saturday, and that's what was partly so frustrating. There were times defensively where it was just great execution, great play, great energy, just creating so many, negative yardage plays for them, very positive plays for us. And then offensively, when we sputtered at times, that we got frustrated, and then we would get the ball moving. I want to say there was, 3, 4 in a row. Started off kind of frustrating because we had the third down converted, get the penalty. That's bad football there. There's no excuse. We just got to, no excuse whatsoever. I mean, we got to get protection issue. He thought he couldn't hear what they were saying on the issue. The back stepped up, had 2 guys in motion, and we missed a third down on the first third down of the game, which is huge. We sputter, and then once we get the ball moving, we go touchdown. The next one, we're driving, getting the red zone, interception. Next one, we get an explosive play. We're going to have a first down going into the high red, fumble. Series, next possession, half's over. First possession of second half, 92-yard touchdown. So we had a window where we had an opportunity. And then after that, on the road in some of these environments, momentum slips away, and we let it get away from us. So disappointing, but we'll get it corrected. There's nothing that we can't get corrected, and we'll keep on moving forward. So again, a lot of respect for Coach Braum at Louisville. And the turnaround that they've done and the team that they have. So looking forward to going up there and playing for the Governor's Cup. It should be a great game.
Now, Mark, I know you focus more on your team than anybody else, but what do you see has been the biggest improvement from last year to this year?
Quite a few things. I mean, they're better in a lot of areas. I think, just very fundamentally sound in all areas. Defensively playing very aggressive, very disruptive, creating turnovers and negative yardage plays, and trying to dictate. And then offensively, just good at what they do. They're good. They're very efficient in the run game. They've had no line. I want to say they've had one major change. Other than that, I think 4 of them have been in there all year. You don't generally see that. So great continuity with their offensive line. Very few changes there. They got good running backs, good scheme, so they're efficient in running it, and it sets up the balance that he's looking for. So so they've just been very good, very efficient. I think they've made some nice additions, with in the portal at wide out also.
Mark, there was so much excitement going into the year about the offense with Liam coming back and Devin and the other transfers. Is there a consistent theme as to why it hasn't lived up to that this year?
There's been a variety of things, and that also gets frustrating. As we've talked about throughout the year, whether it be a protection here or a drop here or turnover, you name it. There's been some things, but this is not the time to point fingers, and throw any one person or any area. I mean, we had an opportunity to win that game, even defensively. Giving up the points that we did in the possession where they scored with the second and extra long and third long and all that that we had the opportunity to win. So we're all in it together.
We're speaking of frustrating. Do we go and do a lot of third and longs? Is there any one thing that's causing that? That must have got to do with the long.
It does. I think the biggest thing is consistent pressure, and making and obviously there's things we could do better in the back end and certain coverage issues, and so I think that's a combination of things. I know pressure helps.
Mark, Coach Braum has obviously done a fantastic job his first year. Do you remember what it was like your first year and how difficult it must be to take the reins of a new program?
Oh yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I think it's a little different world right now than it was 11 years ago or 12 years ago with the portal, and that's the nice thing, and every situation's different, every situation's different, but I think the Brahms are quite comfortable in Louisville, growing up there and knowing everybody and playing there, and having a good team, and him making it much better. And the portal is a totally different world. I mean, we could only sign 25 different players, from on your roster at that point in time. You could sign 100, 75 right now if you wanted to, 80, 85, whatever you feel like.
What do you see from Plummer at quarterback?
A guy with experience, a guy that knows Coach Braum's system. Spent 3 or 4 years with him, and before he transferred, and then coming back. So a guy that just has been in that system, and I think without throwing any one person under the bus, but that's hurting us with again, 2 years in a row, new coordinators, new quarterbacks, and with them, the nice thing is that with Plummer, he has a good feel for the system, and I'm sure they have a good working relationship there, and I think that's helped, and you could tell he looks very comfortable back there.
Coach, in Louisville's game versus Miami, they brought pressure pretty much the entire second half, and that's what got them the win. Do you expect to see a lot of pressure heading into this game? If so, how do you prepare for it?
Yeah, that's what they do. They I think if you go back and research them, I think they're well documented on what they say and what they do and what they wanted to do since day one. That's how their approach is, so there's nothing different there. But for us, we have to be very clean. We have to be stronger at the point of attack. Even when we're picking up things, we have to be more firm to give the quarterback time to throw the ball. When we've had that, we've been effective in certain games, and I think that's the big thing, is just making sure we have a good plan for all the different protections and being very firm. And we have to win some one-on-ones. There's with their pressure, it's not like they're trying to constantly, just surprise you or get guys free. I mean, they're getting good matchups, and they're pressing the pocket.
You talked about time to throw the ball as well. Are you concerned about tip passes heading into this game?
Yeah, I think anytime you have 5 tip passes, it's a concern. Yes.
Mark, you're a confident coach, and you want your players to be confident, and yet you've also preached to us about not having false confidence or being overconfident. All that bravado that was coming at the beginning of the year, how do you strike that balance between confident and false confidence?
I mean, I haven't, our team, hopefully we're well past the false confidence. I mean, we know, again, this is the fourth team that is currently in the top 10. It's a pretty good group that we played against. No excuse for last week's loss whatsoever. And I think that's what makes it so, that one very frustrating. But we know what we're capable of, and it's whether we're playing the number one ranked team in the country, which we have, or anybody else, it's truly always about us and how we play. And Saturday wasn't much different. We had our opportunities, and in certain moments we fell short, and we have to. There's one way out of that stuff: go work, and go grind, and show the resolve that our teams generally have had. We know we're not perfect. We know we got things to work on, but we've always had the ability and the toughness and the grit to fight back.
Mark, there's a view out, that's kind of bandied about by many fans that like the on-field result of this game actually kind of comes into play when you're going head-to-head with Louisville on the recruiting trail. Is there any truth to that, or is that something that maybe just kind of blown out of proportion?
That the result of this game?
The on-field result, like actually, when it comes to recruiting head-to-head against Louisville, have you ever really seen recruits say it played any factor?
I don't. I don't know. It could. Maybe I would never say never. You have to ask those kids. We're having a good year in the state again. Louisville's certainly having a great year on the field and in recruiting, so I think they've done a really nice job. I mean, for everybody, it's the fit, it's the right people. I thought he's done a nice job with some portal players that are good fit and good players.
Mark, can you talk a little bit about, I know it's hard coming off a loss to single out one player, but I thought by far it was Deontay Walker's best game he's played here, and just his evolution as to getting where he can stay in 3, 4, 5, 6 plays in a row now.
Yeah, Deon's had he really had a good game. He really did. I thought he really just made very disruptive plays. He countered back on certain ones, and he's a guy that we were talking about pressure in the third downs. He's certainly a guy that's always consistent with getting back there and drawing some attention, drawing a couple guys on him all the time. We need some others around him to step up with that. But definitely, not only had some penetration and he finished some plays too. So when you have him in the back, and they're bouncing around and behind the line of scrimmage, he finished some plays, which was really good to see. And so hopefully, the best is still coming for that young man.
How well do you know Jeff?
I know Jeff just, I wouldn't say, great friends or anything, but, way back to even when he was at Western and we'd cross over at certain things, just always liked him. And, you know what I mean? I said that in the summer, or when he was first hired, that, I certainly, liked him, had a lot of respect for him and his brother. And, coming from a family of coaches, much like ours and everything. So good man, and done a great job.
Obviously, he liked to Coach Schnellenberger. He talks about Coach Schnellenberger's influence on him in offense. When you think about it, that connection in Coach Schnellenberger, what do you think about offensively?
Well, I don't.
What is the characteristics of the offense?
Yeah, I don't think of the two, because I hadn't studied Coach Schnellenberger's at all. But with Jeff's, I just like, I don't know. I mean, you hate to compare it to people, but, in a complimentary way, like maybe Missouri, you know what I mean, with some of their lead zones, split lead zone, you know what I mean, do a nice job of keeping you off balance, nice job with their zone schemes, and that sets up nice play actions off of it. You've heard me for 11 years talk about balance, and I think that's what he does a nice job of. He keeps you off balance. He runs the ball well. They throw it very effectively, and then they have enough of the eye candy or gadgets, or like us, sometimes on the perimeter, reverses, different things. It just keeps you off balance. I think they do a nice job in all those areas.
What would a win Saturday do for this team heading into postseason?
Well, it'll be a big win for us. I mean, it's the last game of the year, and it's been a tough stretch, without a doubt. But this team, this is another game, and it certainly doesn't salvage some of the things that we've done or anything like that. We don't look at it that way. We look at it like it's another opportunity. We play a lot of big games here. This one, I've said it from the moment I walked in here, that it was important. I know the importance of it to our fan base and to the community, and I've acknowledged that for 11 years.
Like you say, you play a lot of big games here. It does seem like this series, the last few years, has reinforced how the SEC tests you every week when you go out of conference. It looks a little different. What about that schedule prepares you for these, like this game and the bowl games that you've had so much success?
Well, I don't really, want to make a comment on that without feeling like I'm being condescending or defensive of what I had to do. You know what I mean? People don't look at our schedule, you know what I mean? But there are games on there like last Saturday that was inexcusable. So there is no defense, and I'm not looking for one. There's some things we did well. There's some things we did not so well. But I could only comment on our schedule, not anybody else's. And like I said, come live it for a minute.
Mark, you talked about just when you guys are going to be ready. Just how do you guys approach? A lot of newer guys this year. This is an important rivalry game. There's so much going into the week. How do you make sure that doesn't linger within your guys, especially some of the newer guys?
Yeah, I think it's a big, it's like that. It's a challenge. It was like that last week, coming off, a tough one with Bama. Playing teams like that are so big and physical, so it was a challenge last week, and we worked hard, all week, and I felt like, I really do, and I credit our players. I felt like they were in a good place. I just felt like there was some execution and some. And again, I don't want to blame it on any one thing, but when you're getting drives, you're getting moving, you get turnovers. I mean, you're not going to win if you go on the road and lose their turnover battle like that, amongst everything else, but with the turnovers, not going to happen. So I think our team was in a good place. We got to work really hard again this week to get them back and to get them in a good spot.
Do you feel that the program is, you're all having to try to learn to win these close games again, because in the past, y'all been maybe more run heavy and you just play different? It's just different this year.
I think that's. I think that's fair. I wouldn't say learn. I'd say find the right balance. You know what I mean? Find what is effective for us to finish that off. And one of them is, that, like, if you look at the success rate in the run game, it's halfway decent in that game, but yet it still doesn't feel like it's good enough for us. You know what I mean? What we've done. It was 5.4 or something like that per carry or whatever. I mean, that by statistics they'll say that was effective, but for us maybe not. You know what I mean? We need to be a little better than that. We are also getting the penalties and the negative yardage plays again are stacking up, because our third down, the distance that we have for third down is horrendous, and and you can't constantly be in third and long. So that is partly to your point, I think, of being more effective and more physical in the run game.
How much is completion percentage something you all look at? Because it seems like just a lot of incomplete passes are just really putting you all behind the chains.
Yeah, I think it's definitely concerning, and we it's concerning. Again, I don't need to put any undue pressure on any one position or any one person, but we left plays on that field.
Mark, with the SEC expanding next year and league potentially going to 9 games after that, is there a sense this might be the last time you play in Louisville for the foreseeable future?
No, because next year's locked in no matter what. After that with 9, I don't know. It's, again, you know how I feel about hypotheticals.
Mark,
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of talking about hypothetical things. And I don't discuss them. Yeah. Again, I'm not going to talk about hypothetical.
Mark, I watched.
You're not getting a quote out of me now. Come on.
I watched 2 tapes of theirs so far, and it seems their defense is a little risk reward. You mentioned that they like to bring something every time. You took some shots deep last week. Do you feel like you're going to get some chances with one-on-ones down the field here this week?
I don't. There are definitely some. I mean, we're definitely going to try to push the ball at times. That was disappointing. We had some real opportunities Saturday, and we got to make those plays.
Mark, up front, the offensive line got off to a really good start this season, and maybe has dropped off a little bit. Other than playing some tougher defensive lines, what have you kind of seen from that room the back half of the season?
Yeah, I think again, being fair, you're asking me specifically about them, and inconsistent, I'd say, but I could also say that about a bunch of other ones.
Mark, circling back real quick on the Louisville game. I know you really don't want to talk about hypotheticals, but it would be great for the fans if they gave us kept on the schedule. Your thoughts about that?
I'm looking forward to Saturday's game. I would desperately like to keep that trophy here. It's been here for a while, and I hope it stays here. But this is one heck of a football team, and this is a new year. And you also know how I feel about years past, records and all that crap. You know what I mean? It's like this year, let's worry about this game this year. It's a brand new game, and it's an important one to both teams. I will say this. It's good. Well, it's good to I think for the state. You know what I mean. Hopefully we have a little better record. The next go around. But I think when both teams are playing good, it's important. So hopefully we could bring our A game and play up to our potential. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, sorry about that. I would say you were asked there a minute ago about winning close games. And that's one thing Louisville has excelled at this year. They're 7-0 in one possession games. I guess. How much confidence do you think teams hey, if it's tight in the fourth quarter, they've proven time and again that they just seem to make winning plays? Yeah,
again, I mean, I can't talk about other teams. I don't know what their mindset is or what they go through or what they've done or, any of that. But I think, for us, we know we could win close games and have. And, we were plays off a few games here this year, and that gets aggravating.
Mark, a lot has been made about your pony up comment. I personally thought it was maybe misconstrued. How would you like to maybe go back and change how that was presented?
I really don't want to talk. I want to move past that. You have to listen to the whole conversation. Everybody takes a piece of something you say and act like you're making an excuse or anything else. I mean, please listen to the 1-minute conversation. We were that's it. My radio show where it's a little more laid back. We could just discuss and talk, and I was, very upfront with the caller. It's like, fans have every right. I never get offended or defensive. I may defend our program or our players or say, things that we need, but as far as that goes, that was nothing. I mean, it was something I lightheartedly said that person, can do something. That is a way they can do something. And outside of that, I make no excuses. I haven't for 11 years. I'm not going to start now. I'll tell you facts, and I'll tell you reality, but I'm not going to make excuses. And I'm not going to start now.
Mark, you mentioned earlier the difficulty of the coordinator turnover, the quarterback turnover, and how that puts you behind a little bit. We're right on portal season again. How do you approach that going into the offseason?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think there's definitely some there's ways now. There's areas where you have to be selective. I think you have to find the right ones. You have to find players that fit your program, and you don't know. I mean, there's several positions that we'll look at. I can't comment on anything specifically.
What about Coach English? Is your paths crossed with him?
Not too much. Other than to know, he seems like a very good man and a very good coach, and have been around a while. So I'm sure he's a strong leader.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.